about buildings or objects in the landscape.
Any construction stuff.
For buildings and furniture and things like that.
Architects deal more with how experience happens internally.
Architecture.
Architecture, buildings.
Building.
Yeah, I think that would
When
be
you build
building.
something, you know how it looks from the outside.
Architecture has to do with buildings. I don't know how to explain it.
Architecture is usually confused with just a building with a function, but in reality, it is so much more. It is the spaces that it forms. It is the emotion that it creates. It's the reason why people have a certain bond with a particular building. Where a conventional building would have a normal door for the entrance and exit of a building, architecture would consider a new way of entering the building. It considers how people move through the space and how people use the space. Where a conventional building merely provides for the minimum requirements for a particular program, architecture must always respond to its context. In doing so, architecture cannot exist without the landscape. It is this mutual relationship between architecture, landscape architecture, and interior architecture that forms the essence of all spaces.
Yeah, what's that?
A fancy term for like gardening.
When you plan in a landscape,
Designing landscapes.
Landscape is more the outside.
normally your landscape is outside.
I agree.
Gardening, stuff like that.
The landscape is checking whether the soil is right.
Got more to do with the land.
Landscape architecture is the application of scientific and artistic principles to design spaces and places within the natural built environment that have aesthetic and functional value. There is an assumption that landscape architecture occurs between buildings. However, we believe that landscape architecture should be as much a part of the building as a building is part of the landscape. During the Renaissance, palace gardens were designed to reflect the intricate interior designs of the palace, as seen in the Garden of Versailles in France.
If you mess up the landscape, the building's gonna look like crap.
I have no idea. The best of three worlds.
No. I never think about this before. Talk about that before.
But I don't think they should be together now.
They should go together.
We feel crowded in our cities, but have you ever considered how much of that is just underutilized space? What if we began to change the way we approach the development of our urban environments? What happens to the space our buildings take us? Can we give it back? Better yet, can we give back more than we take? In Istanbul, where underground water is polluted, an aqua garden collects rainwater to support an ecosystem of wetland plants, water utilization, heat reduction, and an opportunity for new plant species. No one really considers landscape as the space above their heads, but in Melbourne, a roof garden contributes to research on green infrastructure technologies specific to that climate. Our cities, like our thinking, tend to be building, garden, architecture, landscape, but when do they all become different things? These projects could never have been accomplished with the design of the structure happening in one room and the green interventions in another.
Architecture and landscape, two entities which are regarded separately, but which rely completely upon the other for success in context. The fundamental principle of good design is that it responds to the context in which it is put. By isolating architecture from landscape and landscape from architecture, the design ultimately falls short of this core principle. There is a symbiotic relationship that exists between landscape and architecture, with the energies created in space and structure of one informing and inspiring the aesthetic of the other. To isolate landscape from the architecture is therefore simply bad design. As Frank Lloyd Wright once said, no house should be built on a hill. It should be of the hill, belonging to it. The house and the hill living together, and each the happier for it. This way of thinking should form the baseline of our understanding as designers, in which architecture is landscape, and in which landscape is architecture.
So whether it's architecture,
Landscape architecture,
Interior architecture,
They're all part of an integrated whole. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thanks so much for watching. Good night!